Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. Hope you guys are having a good week. Only got 5 LPs to share today. We're all still from Kansas City. And I'm probably going to title this video something along the lines of records nobody cares about. Because I feel like with these 5 records, I don't think I've seen anybody share them. And even to me, they're kind of blind picks as well. So I had to kind of take some time listening to them and kind of see what the whole picture was about. I think the last one I haven't dove into too much. I mean, I listened to all the songs, but as far as like finding out about their history and stuff, still a little shady. So anyways, we're going to dive into these records that nobody cares about. Hope you enjoy. I say that because these are kind of like, well, 3 of these are like major label obscurities that didn't sell very well back in the day, and well, none of these really did. But then the other 2, one's almost a private press thing, but it's like a gospel garage record. And then the first one I had never seen before, so it's kind of a mishmash of things that, some good, nothing great in this pile, but figured I'd just drop in and say hello and share them off. So this first one here, this is a band from Quebec City. This is a band called Les Bellaire. Apparently they were pretty big back in the day, like the mid-60s. This is like one of their later releases from 69. Love the cover, love the whole presentation with this one, and you know, it was pretty cheap when I spotted it. It was like 10 bucks. You know, it kind of looks like maybe you know, the back looks kind of proggy. Then the front kind of looks more like a garage rock kind of thing. So I was like, it's got to be semi-interesting, right? Well, it's kind of like a one-track wonder, I would say. I mean, there's definitely some moments on side 2 that are decent, but for the most part, side 1's pretty plain, mid-pop, I would say, if that makes any sense. Like, it just hits me like mid-level. There's nothing too crazy going on in the production. It's pretty sleek, pretty plain, straight-ahead pop music. Almost leans on towards like novelty pop, which is like, you know, the worst of what you could have offered, you know. But side 2 begins with a track called Les Dragonflies, which I don't remember what that stands for, if it's like dragonflies. But it's like the most unexpected sound from this group so far. It's kind of like a, you know, mid-tempo garage rocker with some like gruff vocals. It's a pretty cool track. It's nothing like amazing, but it's cool to hear, you know. It's kind of a nice rocker to, you know, kind of spice things up. But even that track, it's kind of like on the same level as like Crazy Horses by the Osmonds, you know. Kind of in that vein. But comes the lyric insert. I didn't look up on too much of the history, except that it seems like they hit pretty well success from Quebec as far as like the pop charts and stuff, but I'd never heard of these guys. And you know, they're pretty native to the French language as well. And this is one of those records, you know, like a lot of groups around Quebec, Spain, France, there's a lot of records like this that are kind of very neatly polished pop that we've all heard time and time again, and they just don't seem to have a lot of like originality to them. Seems like a lot of people are just kind of writing these songs for them or doing a lot of cover songs. But at the end of side 2, again, another semi-highlight. It kind of gets a little progressive pop in a way. It's got some interesting song structures, but nothing mind-blowing, unfortunately, on this one. But looks cool, right? I mean, for 10 bucks, I had to take a chance on it. This will be going for some trade, unfortunately. But going for some good trade, because y'all know what I'm trying to pick up. Or maybe you don't. Something dropped in the local shop that I'm really excited to get. Starting with the second one here. So these are, I think all 4 of these are from Josie Records in Kansas City. Good thing I stopped in there at the right time. Well, I left at the right time too, because that's when this whole electrical storm was like blowing over the whole city. I saw even one of those road closure signs like fly across the street, and I was like, whoa! Because because I saw it like down the street, and I saw just this road closure sign fly down the block, almost like it went on the green light or something, like it was driving. It looked like that anyway. But anyways, with the rest of these are from Josie, like I said. Was kind of just looking in the dollar bins, basically. I mean, it was like ranging between $1 to $5 generally. I did leave a few behind just because of the condition of the discs. I mean, I just didn't want to play them because they were a little rough looking, but a few of these covers are not in the greatest shape, like this first one. This is Mark Radice, it's pronounced, as he says in the cover here. Kind of a cool die cut cover. I imagine this got pretty damaged back in the day. They don't hold up very well, but looks like someone chewed out the corners there. I mean, times get tough, you gotta eat, you know. This is on Paramount label. I kind of like the Paramount label. It's so basic, it's so plain, but something about that gray Paramount, you know, I kind of like the stark look of it. But Mark Radice, though, he's had quite a history, starting with this record. So his father, Gene Radice, he would produce and engineer different records for people like Jimi Hendrix, Velvet Underground and Nico record, The Left Bank 2, Mamas and Papas, lots of artists that passed through like New York City generally, because I think he was based out of there, as well as his son here. And he gets a pass from Donovan on the back. So Mark, he actually toured with Donovan back in the late 60s as I think he was 10, 12 years old. And when he recorded this record, he was only 12 years old, allegedly, at the time, according to Mark online. He's made some comments about this. It was recorded in 1970, but was released like 2 years later. So at the time, he was like 12 years old. And he's got quite a mature voice for his age. But having a musical background, you know, his father and other family members in the business, they were able to produce this passion project that he had, and he's been making music since like 1964, I want to say. He's released some singles. My favorite single of his is Girl by the Meter. It's kind of a really kind of catchy, you know, pre-psych kind of Beatley pop kind of sound. I think it was inspired by Lovely Rita by the Beatles. Get a shot of these credits here and the songs. I don't know why it's not focusing lately, but yeah, he's got a YouTube page, and he did like an interview with some podcast or radio station, and kind of told about his backstory. Primarily, though, he's kind of famous for writing hundreds of songs for Sesame Street, really close to Jim Henson. And he's credited to like recording like up near like 5,000 songs penned on his own. And he's written songs for people like Barry Manilow, Barbra Streisand, Michael Bolton, amongst many others. So, but stylistically though, on this one, I guess for the most part, it's kind of piano-led, you know, early Todd Rundgren romance ballads, but in a good light. I mean, it's not like, you know, cheesy or anything. You might think it's cheesy, you know, some people might think it is, but it's got that kind of early yacht rock kind of feel to it too. It's got a lot of breezy chords moving throughout, and I picked this up for like $2, you know, because of the condition of the cover, and disc plays just fine. So yeah, kind of a cool one. And the more I listen to this, the more it's kind of latching on. It's pretty good. This next one here, this is another singer-songwriter I picked up on. Cover's really bad. It's like all taped up and stuff, but this was like $1. Promo copy here of Turley Richards, self-titled. This is like his second record, I believe. Came out in 1970. He had one in 65 on a different label. Again, another singer-songwriter that just didn't get the right promotion. I think he had a few minor hits regionally, like in the top 40 or top 100 Billboard perhaps, but he's known for being blind. He had an incident where him and his friend or his brother were playing archery at a young age, like 4 or 5. I don't know if they were like toy arrows or whatever, but it struck his left eye, and then eventually, once it came to this record, he became blind in both eyes. So kind of known for that backstory, you know. Doesn't mention anything on the back about him, you know, no bio or anything. It's just the songs and the credits. You know, talk about promotion. It just doesn't tell you anything about the artist. It's kind of why I think a lot of these records just kind of sank back in the day. But yeah, cool white label promo. Plays really well. You know, it's nothing I probably will keep, but I just wanted to check it out because I had never heard of this guy. He was based out of West Virginia, but he was trying to make it in like LA back in the like early to mid 60s. He didn't quite make it, and he would sleep overnight in like Central Park trying to get a gig because he moved to New York City around the time of this record, and thankfully had some good labels backing him up. He worked with Columbia, Epic, Warner Brothers, 20th Century, so he had a good shot, but I don't know what kept him becoming a star. I think he also had an appearance on Johnny Carson back in the day, so you know, he might be known to some people, but yeah, like I said, I'd never heard of this dude, and he's still around to this day. Stylistically, there's a lot of cover songs on here. I'd say the Gordon Lightfoot covers are the best. I'm Not Saying. And then there's a track of his own called Then I'll Go Away. But he's also known for the track on here, I Heard the Voice of Jesus, which is like a 7-minute track. Some of them vocal scales that he launches to, it's quite impressive, really, for his voice, because it's kind of a lightweight, sort of baritone voice, but nice voice overall. And a couple Bob Dylan tracks as well. So yeah, if you're into the singer-songwriter types, you know, the kind of acoustic, semi-baroque pop vein, it's one to investigate. Okay, and I got these last two here. I'll share this one first. So this is the other one from Josie's this is the one I paid up for. It's not too much. It was like $15. This is Till the Whole World Knows by Sons of Thunder. What a name for a Christian group, right? But Sons of Thunder, I guess, references John and James, which was like a name given by Jesus. Missed that part of the Bible, so I had to educate myself on that. But yeah, this is pretty good for a sort of a gospel garage record. It's a little clean cut, but at the same time, it's got some elements of like early, you know, kind of surf rock guitar tones moving throughout, but some nice compact organ, you know, sort of angelic harmonies moving throughout, and you know, little splashes of psychedelia in the mix naturally. You know, I think this came out in 68, but definitely sounds a few years earlier, maybe 65, 66. And you know, if you're not bothered by biblical lyrics, this is definitely gonna be up your alley. It's kind of reminiscent of like the Crusaders, that record on Tower, but also the Holy Ghost Committee number 9. You guys know that record. It's kind of in that similar light. A little lo-fi, nice organ sounds, and for the most part, I think it's female-led vocals. But yeah, this is fantastic, actually. Definitely more of that kind of acid archive. People of that ilk will probably enjoy this the most. So I think it's on a pretty well-known gospel label. It's not a private press, but yeah, seek it out if you can. You see it for like $10. It's kind of impressed me. It's kind of beat oriented, you know, a little bit on the folk side, you know, some sort of downer sides, but also a little more upbeat. And they do a cover of Curtis Mayfield, People Get Ready. It's a really good rendition of it. I could see that being on some like numero group compilation, if it isn't already. So check her out. Now this one I've listened to only once, but I had to kind of familiarize myself a little more with this one, but I do remember the highlights at least. And this is United Sons of USA. I think that's the name of it. It's got a kind of confusing title, like what the band name is and what the album's called. It might be called, yes, United Sons of America or of USA. I'm not sure, but kind of a cool cover art there with the postcard looking thing. Yeah, so this is on the Mercury label, another major label. This is pretty cheap when you find it. I think I paid $5 for this. Just wanted to give it a chance. I've seen maybe one or two other people show this. I think Matt Sands has this as well. Stylistically, it's kind of all over the place. It's got kind of jazz rock elements, but also kind of this twangy, almost southern rock sort of sound that I can recall. I do remember side 2 being better, Children of Mist, kind of a more dreamy track, but then the closing track called Friends, it's like the 8-minute highlight here. It's got like dual fuzz leads on it, kind of a nice shuffling rhythm, and they just kind of jam on that track. That one's really good. It's kind of worth the price of admission just for that track alone. So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know too much about the history. I think one of them was like in a garage band from Bakersfield, because these guys were based out of Bakersfield, California, and that's about all that's listed about them. No singles, just this one and only record, and it's kind of one of those covers, you know, you could probably just definitely, you know, not see ever again, because it's just so indistinctful, you know. It's just a postcard style and doesn't really tell you much about the music itself. So yeah, a lot of those obscurities, I feel like they got to be kind of an eye-catching cover for people to check them out, you know. I think album art is important. It's on the orange red Mercury label. Sometimes in different lights it looks different. I always think of it as red, but in the light or on the camera it looked orange. So yeah, just checking these little cheapies out, you know. So yeah, that basically does it, guys, and I only have 3 more LPs from Kansas City to share. And then, I don't know when I'm going to share them, but I do have one coming in the mail, which I'm also very pumped about. It's been a big want for years, but this year I've been trying to kind of narrow in on a few that I've really been wanting to pick up on, or that I've been lacking for a few years, and yeah, very, very stoked about this UK pressing. Hope you guys enjoy my open mic nights. Kind of enjoying those. Even if you don't want to watch them, I totally get that. I mean, I'm kind of here just to share my vinyl, my love for music, and you know, I just like to post those just to look back, you know, 5 years down the road and listen to my different ideas I came up with, and you know, just the whole vibe in the room, what we were feeling those nights, you know. So thanks again for watching. Check these out, and we shall see you down the road.